This conference will now be recorded.
All right. So I want to welcome everyone to part 2 of natural hair care, and we have a guest speaker with us today, which is Debbie Dunn from Entice, and she has an amazing line of natural products. And so we'll get into that afterwards, but mostly I want you guys to understand what's happening in those hair follicles and what we can do to have beautiful, shiny, natural hair, because that's the key. So just want a reminder from last week that we talked about protein, understanding that your hair is mostly protein. So protein is very important, keratin, collagen, and elastin. So we talked about that collagen accounts for 1/3 of the protein in your body. That's a lot. Now there's a big myth happening that you cannot get collagen from a plant-based diet because only animals have collagen. To some degree that statement is true, but I don't know if you know this, but you are part of the animal family. Yes, friends, you are. So you are an animal. Guess what that means? That means you produce collagen all on its own. How do we start to deteriorate our collagen? Well, naturally, as we get closer to 50, to tell you the truth, the 50 mark, things start to deteriorate pretty rapidly. But as we age, collagen naturally slows down, but it's okay that it naturally slows down. You should still have enough collagen in your system, your bones and joints and your hair, your nails and all of that, to keep yourself pain-free, still beautiful hair, but of course it grays. We'll talk about that shortly. Saggy skins, weaker bone joints, that naturally happens. We're getting older, so our body's degenerating. It's okay, but it's not okay to not feel good. It's not natural as we get older to have a lot of pain in our body, to have painful joints and all of those things, and to have hair falling out. Those are not part of old age. That has probably happened. Yes, it could be a genetic disposition, but also that has probably happened because through the years we have done things to either break down the collagen or not have enough nutrients in those days when we were producing collagen very rapidly to be able to support the body's production of collagen. And that's important. So again, collagen, hugely important. Do you get it from a plant-based diet? Indirectly, you do, because as we'll see in a minute, through many of the foods we eat, vitamin C, sulfur from our onions and garlic, the protein that's naturally found in our beans, and also our leafy green vegetables, the phytochemicals, these are all important B vitamins to produce collagen. So as you're eating a plant-based diet, your body will take these nutrients to produce the amino acids necessary in order for you to have to produce collagen. So important. We talked last week about keratin. Hair grows by forming new cells at the base of the root. So these cells multiply to form this rod of tissue in the skin. The rod of cells move upward through the skin as new cells form beneath. And guess what? That becomes a hair, one of them. And this is happening. I mean, we have thousands of hair on our heads. So this is happening all the time. And this is what I want to get to you today. So what happens is, as they move up, they're cut off from their supply of nourishment. I want you to picture that with me because that's going to be important for you to understand what we're talking about today. So when the hair finally breaks through the skin and comes out, the nourishment supply for that hair now has been cut off. How can it still look healthy? Very important. We're going to talk about that. And again, your beta-carotene is important, sunflower seeds, mangoes, the nutrients in mangoes, kale, the folic acid, all of these are very important for your body to produce keratin. Yes, indeed. So you can enjoy your mangoes, have your carrots, your sweet potatoes, like garlic and onion, boy, that shows up everywhere. If I was if I was lost in the wilderness, or I was going to make myself lost in the wilderness, and there was only 3 things that I could bring with me for natural remedies, I'm going to tell you, I would be packed full of garlic. It just heals everything. Charcoal would be the next thing, and probably some vitamin C. Cabbage, maybe cabbage. Anyway, I'm not in the wilderness, but I want you to know that garlic and onions, so healing for so many things. So the last one we talked about was elastin. That's formed by linking together many small little soluble, they're called tropelastins. And once they link, so they're soluble, but once they link together, they become insoluble. They form this very complex protein called elastin, which is very strong and extremely durable. So what our friend Debbie told us last time is to take your hair. I know you can't see this, but I do have a hair in my hand. And if you can wrap, one end around one finger, I know everybody has somehow short hair, kinky hair all over, but if you can pull it and it breaks quickly, that's a problem. Okay, so you should have good elastic hair. And that means that you have very good elastin and good durable hair. So it shouldn't be breaking all over the place. It is natural for you to lose about 100 pieces of hair every day. It is totally and completely natural that you are losing hair. But when every time you comb your hair, the comb is full of hair, the sink, I don't know if you comb your hair over the sink, or you're constantly losing hair. Every time you touch your hair, you're getting clumps and clumps. 1 or 2 hairs, totally natural. I'm so happy. I just lost a gray one. That makes me thrilled. Does that mean there's less gray hair in my head? No, it means another gray hair is going to form. Too bad. I'm getting old. It's okay. So we talked about the beans, the nuts, the seeds, the grains. These are very important for elastin. And high vitamin C fruits. We need that vitamin C, as we're going to talk about some natural remedies today, that are so important for elastin, for collagen. Olive oil is a fantastic essential fatty acid that's also very important for elastin as well, for that strong, durable hair. So, and then there's some pumpkin squash on there, just again, talking about and showing the importance of beta-carotene that is also found inside your squashes. So let's move on to understanding a couple things. I'm going to jump back to the slide in a second, but I want you to get to know your hair, understanding the importance of what's happening. So as we talked about, once that hair leaves the skin, it's not going to, your body's not going to be able to continue to give it the nourishment. It's dead hair. However, so what's important is, yes, the right products on that dead hair for sure, but what is most important, I want you guys to come down further with me, all the way deep into the cells. Keep going. Look at that. We have this incredible blood supply. Okay, so you've got this hair bulb that's happening here. You've got your hair matrix in here, the hair papilla. Now, this is what's important. This is, I want to say, almost the most important, because this is the blood supply. The Bible tells us, whether you read it or not, I'm just going to tell you what it says, but it says that the life is in the blood. If you do not have good blood, folks, you cannot have good hair. That hair is fed, grown, nourished by your blood supply. So this is something that's extremely important to know, is that when this hair finally pushes out of the skin, it's what happened beneath the skin and below the skin that is important. So, and this is really for everything and entire life, but understanding that it's the food supply of the hair before it actually comes out that makes all the difference to what you see on the outside. And the sebaceous gland is important too, because you can see here underneath this hair follicle and the blood supply, this is our fat. Our fat lies just beneath the skin. It's right next to the blood supply. And we're going to talk about this in a second, but understanding that if that fat is clogged fat, if that fat is the wrong type of fat, you are not going to be, you are actually going to inhibit your hair supply from getting the nourishment it needs. And this sebaceous gland is full of essential fatty acids. So we need lots of healthy essential fatty acids in order for this hair follicle to be as prime and as healthy as possible before it pushes through the skin and, you know, becomes the hair that we see. I mean, this is like such a rule for like life, right? I mean, what you nourish that, like for women, you know, what you give your baby while it's in the womb makes such a difference to what will happen once you give birth to that child. So, you know, we've learned that if a person is on drugs or alcohol or whatever the case is, that child comes out and that poor child is also addicted and has got issues. If you nourish that hair, you nourish that child in your stomach, in your womb, before you give birth to it, you're doing all the right things, you give birth to it, and then you can have a healthy child. Genetics has a role to play. So sometimes you can nourish that child all you want, but it may still come out with, you know, one arm is gone or some sort of a health issue. And of course, this does happen. It's less than 10% of the time. So most people with their hair issues will say, oh, you know, my mom has bad hair or my father was balding, so that's why I'm balding. For sure, genetics has a role to play, but I want you to know that it's less than 10%. So this is really where I want to focus on today. What I want to focus on today is this very simple understanding is this bulb is so important. This is where the nourishment happens. And folks, this hair bulb surrounds the hair papilla, which is made of, listen to this, this is important, connective tissue, and contains blood capillaries and nerve endings from the dermis. So we're talking about connective tissues, we're talking blood capillaries, and we're talking nerve endings. That is what surrounds this hair bulb. That is what is so important. How do we have healthy connective tissue? So let's really think about that. In order for you to have healthy connective tissue, you need a good amount of calcium in your body that is actually absorbable. Where are you going to get good usable calcium? You also need lots of vitamin E and you need vitamin A. Where do you get that? Your green leafy vegetables are loaded with calcium. Your almonds have lots of calcium. Millet has a lot of calcium. You want healthy connective tissue, not tissue that is hard to form, not very flexible. You need that vitamin E in there. That's going to come a lot from your nuts, from your seeds. Avocado has vitamin E. You need that vitamin A in there. That's so important for skin. So beta carotene, vitamin A is converted to beta carotene in the system, and it's important for us to have those orange vegetables, those red vegetables. These are so important. So your leafy greens, some of your grains, your nuts, your seeds, to have good connective tissue. Your blood, the strength and the life is in the blood. If you have blood capillaries that are clogged, if you have blood that is not running freely in your body, it's thick, congested blood, believe me, that hair is not going to get that nourishment. Beets are so fantastic for the blood. Carrots are so fantastic for your blood. Dandelions, so wonderful. We're going to talk in a few minutes about herbs that are so blood cleansing. Okay, so that's very, very important. And your nerve endings are the most important thing for nerves, I want to tell you, are your B vitamins and your essential fatty acids. Your essential fatty acids are fats that the body can't produce itself. So we're talking about your omega-3s, your 6s. There's lots of different essential fatty acids that you have to get from food. So does that mean I should be eating fish every day? No, there's so many toxins that are associated with eating this fish. You can get your omega-3s, and you need more omega-3s than you do 6s, but you can get those from your flax. You can get that from your chia. You can get that from your nuts, your seeds. You can get that from hemp, your olive oil, your coconut oil. All of these things are so important, as well as your B vitamins, which come from your millet, your buckwheat, your quinoa's got lots of B vitamins in it. Your oats, your barley, these are loaded with B vitamins. So you can see that it's a complete plant-based diet that also helps to bring the nourishment to the cells. What I want you to see and understand is that you can eat, a lot of these foods that have that, but if you are not drinking water, your nervous system, it just saps up water. It needs that for its electric signals to actually connect with each other. Your blood will get thick without water because it starts to become dehydrated. And when it becomes dehydrated, where does it pull from? Your connective tissue. And it makes your skin dry, and it makes all your connective tissue dry, makes your hair dry. So it's so important that we are hydrated. We need tons and tons of water. It's your weight divided by 2 divided by 8 gives you, I'll type that out. Your weight divided by 2 divided by 8. Clearly, I need an assistant on here tonight. Divided by 8 is the amount of water, 8-ounce glasses of water that you need every day. And keep in mind that as you have your fresh fruit in the morning, that's like 80-90% water. You have your big salads before your main course. Now we're talking 80-90% water, and it has tons of fiber in it. And guess what the fiber does, folks? The fiber takes the toxins that could be clogging the cells and pulls them out of the system, flushes them out of the bowels. So it's really important to have an excellent blood supply, wonderful connective tissue that's free flowing, that's elasticity, and isn't dry and dehydrated. If you can give that hair follicle all of that nourishment before it cuts through the skin, that is more than half the battle on healthy hair. Now the thing is that the reality is that on that skin, so on your scalp, if you are clogging that scalp because you're using a lot of products that actually clog pores, the skin needs to breathe. It needs oxygen. If your oxygen supply is really low in the bloodstream, blood can't move. Can you imagine if you were sitting in a room and they cut off the oxygen? You wouldn't live very long. Or if the oxygen supply was constantly being inhibited, your skin is not going to do well. Your nervous system goes crazy and your blood supply is suffocating. So it's important as well that the pores all over your scalp are open and not clogged. And so if you were with us last week, Debbie was talking in an excellent way about so many of the products, so many of the ingredients in products that we use every day that actually clog the pores. You want products that absorb naturally into your pores, and you want the vitamin C to go in. You want the natural oils to go in, not to clog. So this is also extremely, extremely important. So with that being said, I'm just going to talk very quickly about some of the natural things that you can do for your hair. So there's a few things. So horsetail, which you can find in a product called silica. Horsetail is not from a horse. It is a plant. It is powerful for strong, shiny hair. So you could get that in a tea form. You honestly have to be very consistent with drinking it for quite a few months, and then you'll start to notice changes in your skin, your hair, your nails. But silica is, or horsetail is fantastic for that. Slippery, that should say slippery, not slipper elm. Slippery elm. For years, I've used slippery elm to help with digestion issues because it really calms inflammation in the stomach. But guess what? It also helps to support the hair follicles. Burdock helps with, and you can get burdock root, wonderful, doesn't taste so great, but you can make that into a tea. You can make it into a wash, a rinse. It's excellent for hair growth and conditioning. Comfrey and dandelion are so cleansing for the bloodstream. And so is fenugreek. When you can use these teas to cleanse the blood, your hair will also be cleansed as well, because we just learned how much your hair depends on a good, clean blood supply. So rosehip is extremely high in vitamin C, and you need vitamin C for your body to produce proper collagen. Now, so definitely people have fungal issues. So there's dandruff, there's an overgrowth of yeast, and this could be a genetic hormone imbalance that happens. Your sebaceous gland is producing way too many oils. But I'll tell you folks, when you're eating a diet that's high in saturated fats, you're having meat, you're having dairy products, cheeses, your glands are gonna be too oily, but it's gonna be sticky oil. It's not gonna be the healthy oil. It's gonna be the oil that clogs pores, clogs arteries as well, and makes the blood very thick. You wanna have those healthy essential fatty acids that we talked about. Black walnut, stinging nettle. Not only is stinging nettle cleansing, but it's antifungal. So is tea tree and black walnut, especially if you're fighting parasites or anything like that. Black walnut is extremely powerful as an antifungal. You want to make sure that you have B vitamins in your diet and vegan omegas. And maybe if you're really having a serious health hair crisis, you might need to start by supplementing. But as I'm mentioning this, I don't want everybody writing them down, going to the herb store, getting all of them, and living off supplements and herbal teas. That is not the answer. I'm going to show you what the answer is in a moment. So the other thing as well is that if you do have a lot of dandruff, or maybe you've had, a month of poor eating and you notice your scalp is itchy or a very, very high stress, using apple cider vinegar, and never ingest apple cider vinegar, but you can use it as a wash, or you can make sage tea and use that as a rinse for your hair to cleanse, because apple cider vinegar is also antibacterial. So it's good for the outside. Licorice extract may help to prevent hair loss as well. And just what you can do as you are comfortable, just taking a board, or if you have a chair that can recline upside down, or the end of a bed or something, if there's incline and decline, you want to, this is great with a lawn chair in the summer. So you could do that. So you want to lie with your head down, and hopefully your blood is very healthy, so that what happens is the blood comes to reach the scalp. So as you're lying down, the blood flows to the scalp, and hopefully it's healthy blood that you've put lots of nutrients. And you want to try that 15 minutes every day. And if you're able to, it's better if someone can do it for you, because then this will trigger your nervous system. When you massage your scalp, that is fantastic for you to do. You're getting the blood supply going. But if you want to affect the nervous system, because when I put my hands on my head, my brain already knew I was going to do that. And I start to massage. I can't trick my brain and say, I'm going to massage back here. Oh, you didn't know that. It does know it. It's the one who told you to go there. So it doesn't really affect the nervous system. If you want your nervous system to be benefited as well as your blood supply, you have to have somebody else massage your scalp. Okay, because then your brain has no idea where their hands are going on your head, and it starts to ignite your nervous system. And that's why massages are so great. When other people do it, it doesn't, you massage your neck, well, that's great, but someone else massage your neck, you're like, that's so wonderful, because now I'm triggering my nervous system, not just my blood supply, and your lymph system as well. Anyway, I just want to touch on a couple things before I get to questions and also bring Debbie on the call. A couple things that I want to touch on is that if your iron is really low, you have a very weak hemoglobin, most likely, which is what carries oxygen through the bloodstream. So you are naturally, as I mentioned, you clog your arteries, you clog your pores, you don't give your blood enough oxygen, it's not breathing, your hair is going to fall out. So those with low iron generally don't have enough oxygen running through the bloodstream. So that is a reason for those who are could be suffering with hair loss. Your iron might just be low. Hypothyroidism, where your thyroid gland is under functioning, the L-tyrosine hormone is not producing, your metabolism is off, your temperature is off. A lot of people who suffer from hyperthyroidism generally have low iron as well, but hair loss is one of the symptoms of hypothyroidism. And I don't know how much more I can emphasize this because I emphasize this every time. Water break. Clean hair, good blood supply. Important. Stress. So as soon as we get stressed out, especially emotionally, I mean, you watch as prime ministers and presidents, have you noticed they get gray during their office, like seriously gray, because stress will create that gray hair. Why are we graying? I'm going to tell you in a minute. So high stress causes hair loss and it causes premature graying because cortisol is released. Cortisol makes the blood thick. It sucks up the oxygen from the system and it starts to create inflammation, irritation on cell walls, and it starts to actually attack and deplete our natural cells. So the blood is being suffocated. Cholesterol has to be overproduced in your system in order to manage all the cortisol and buffer your systems from it. So now I've got too much fat happening. And now I'm going into a situation where I'm actually clogging arteries, where I'm actually clogging pores, working from the inside. So it is a real problem if, you can take every single one of those things listed on here, but if you're emotionally stressed out, physically stressed out, have a lot of chronic pain, this is going, you can do all the good remedies in the world can help a bit, but I just want you to understand that stress is the biggest issue. So I'm gonna just jump back to this raw versus cooked idea. I just want you guys to understand something, is that healthy hair is so dependent on nourishment. We need lots and lots of essential fatty acids, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, B vitamins. We talked about all of it. Now, when we cook food, many of the nutrients like vitamin C, vitamin B are water soluble. They're not fatty. So this means that heat can destroy it, okay? So especially vitamin C. So this is important to understand that if we don't have enough raw food in our diet, like a big salad before we eat the chickpeas and sweet potato or the tofu and the rice bowl, if you don't have a big bowl of fruit before you have your oatmeal, like you should look at your meals, and your meals should be, unless you have health issues and you can't digest raw food, that's a different story, and you absolutely should contact me so I can help you get on the road to healing. But your raw food meal should be as big, if not a little bit bigger than your cooked portion. Yes, you need the protein, which you're going to get from your cooked food. Yes, you need the carbohydrates, which you're going to get from your cooked food. But honestly speaking, the more raw food you have in your diet, the healthier your hair is. And I can speak from experience simply because I drink a lot of vegetable juice. And the reason why hair goes gray is because it's losing nutrients. So naturally, as we get older, our body has a lack of ability to get nutrients out of our food. It's just the natural process of the human body. So that's why as we get older, we do start to gray because your hair is not getting the full nutrient supply. So that happens as you get closer to 50. But as long as you keep giving your body the nourishment, you shouldn't let get gray overnight or in your 4-year term as a prime minister or whatever you're doing. But it is natural to go gray, but that's just the natural process of your body. Digestion slows down as you get older. Everything kind of slows, and the uptake of nutrients is a little bit more difficult for your body than when you were 25. So my answer for myself, because I will never color my hair, I'd like dark brown hair as long as I can have it, is to have more raw nutrients. So my diet has more raw food than cooked food, and I have a vegetable juice pretty much every single morning unless the Energy Shack fridge is empty, which that happened yesterday. I didn't get my vegetable juice, but that's okay. It's a humbling experience, and I need to do that sometimes. Not be so privileged of vegetable juice all the time. But anyway, that being said, is if you could start your day with not just a carrot and beet juice. I'm talking, some carrots, celery, spinach, and even if you didn't do that every day, if you could like every month do a 2 or 3 day juice cleanse, just get those nutrients in your system. I mean, if you think about, there's like 5 pounds of vegetables in one bottle. Man, I would never be able to eat through 5 pounds of vegetables, but I can drink it. So I still drink my juice in the morning, but I still have my salad as part of my meal for the day. I still have my bowl of fruits as part of my other meal for the day. So still getting lots of raw food and roughage, but I'm having that full shot of nutrients every single morning. So that raw versus cooked is important. And I have a video that I want to share with you, but I know Debbie is on the line, and she's with us today because what I want her to talk about a little bit is, Debbie, this list is very overwhelming. Horsetail, slippery elm, burdock, comfrey, dandelion, fenugreek, rose tip, stinging nettle, black walnut, B vitamins, vegan omegas. Wow. We all got to run to the store and get all of these things. But one thing that I appreciate, and for those who weren't here last week, just to share, is that, I shared a different story about my sister who used Debbie's products, and she wasn't happy the first week. And I had learned from Debbie that, especially if you've been using over-the-counter products for so long, this hair, just like a detox, it doesn't feel good in the beginning. But once you start eating clean and the days go on a detox, you're like, now I feel good. So I told my sister, just press on, just keep washing and conditioning with her stuff. And wouldn't you know, she came to me a few weeks later and she's like, I love my hair, I love these products. And also my son, as he was, getting into his teenage years, his early teens, my husband's Jamaican, so his hair is like big and beautiful. But he didn't know what to do with it. He kept cutting it, but he wanted a style that, like, was his personality. He wanted to appreciate his natural frizzy curly hair, but we were trying all these products, nothing was working. I brought home Debbie's products and his hair came alive. His natural curls came out. He was just using leave-in condition, and I just saw this boy's confidence. He's way too overconfident now about his hair, to be honest, but I saw his confidence go from here to here because I always taught my kids, somehow I learned how to cornrow when I was young, so that was great. I always taught my kids, like, don't put all this stuff in your hair. We can do it naturally. And I love that 2 out of 3 of them love natural hair. The other ones, she's still learning. But honestly, it brings such a confidence level as well. So her products are fantastic. But Debbie, if I can just bring you on, do your products contain any of these things? Because it's important for hair.
Yes. So hi everybody. Thanks, Carolyn, for having me on again. Absolutely. And it's an important component of the products are herbs and natural ingredients. And it was really nice to see you even talking about some of the products, some of the ingredients that are in the products. And because they create such important connections with, our skin, with our hair, with our scalp. And because they're so nutrient dense, right? They're medicinal. So, for example, you talked about horsetail, and you're right, it's not a tail of a horse. It's not a tail of a horse. It is a plant, green plant, and it's extremely high in silica. And so the beautiful thing about our products is it's plant-based. So we actually don't um, like purchase horsetails, like synthetic extracts of any of these ingredients. We actually use a real plant. We grind and infuse them. So people are actually as well getting that raw, natural, um, medicinal, synergistic energy from the plants as well. So, like, like one, yes, horsetail was one. You've got the rose hips are really important because they're huge. They're high in vitamin C. The black walnut hull, excellent too. It also helps to, in terms of, it can make the hair a bit darker as well. I mean, over time, but it's also a great antifungal. So people are having issues with their hair, and the thing is that a lot of the products are maintenance products. So it's not like the shampoos, the conditioners are conditioners. You can actually leave in, and so um, you have the ability to have the products in your hair, and they're clean. So being on your hair, on your scalp, they don't you know block your pores. They don't create excess. They're not toxic or harmful to your skin. So, you've got like dandelion is in the products, burdock root is in the products,
Wow.
plantain leaf, and like the list goes on in terms of those raw ingredients. And because they're so nourishing to the hair and the scalp and the body, those are the reasons why we use them. So it's really nice to see that you have, some of those key ingredients as well in there.
Excellent. So thank you. If you guys have any interest in, Debbie also does like a hair assessment. So if you get in touch with her, I'll show you her information at the end. But we also sell her products here. And this isn't just obviously a product pushing seminar, but I really do trust her products. I haven't seen plant-based, Canadian made, all natural, very little preservatives in there. And again, just being able, so you don't have to have black hair. She has products for kinky hair, straight hair, curly hair, wavy hair. So yeah, she's just done a phenomenal job. And I love working with Debbie because she lives the story, right? Her health wasn't good. She realized all the chemicals she was putting in her body. And she knows that diet also has so much to do with it. So with that being said, if anybody has any questions, they can put in the chat. Thank you so much, Debbie, for sharing.
You're very welcome.
Yes, thank you. My daughter, I have two daughters and a son, and one of my daughters actually started an Instagram page. I love that. So she has very, very soft scalp. And when I would braid her hair when she was younger, she would scream murder. Like I was like afraid the neighbors were going to call. I'd pull and whatever on my older daughter's hair, but when it came to Kiana, she would just like her eyes, like you feel like you're torturing your poor child and you're going as light as possible. So she had a very sensitive scalp. And I noticed too, she had a very clean diet, but if ever she was at like a friend's birthday party, she didn't eat well, she'd come back and you could smell her scalp was off. It was, what she ate. So her system was just very, very, it's very sensitive. So anyway, that being said, is that at one point, honestly, I just said, she said, Mom, I just want you to cut my hair. I want hair this high. I never want you to braid my hair, touch my hair. I don't want to worry about my hair. Like that's how, terrible it was for her. She cut off all her hair. I wasn't happy about it, but that's what she wanted to do. It. She asks me today why on earth I let her do that. But anyway, went to a hairdresser, cut it all off. But when it finally came to the length where she can manage it again, she was much older. And instead of hating her hair, I would compliment it all the time because it's so beautiful. My kids' hair is beautiful. She started to learn natural styles without mommy having to touch her hair on her hair. And she started using many of Debbie Dunn's products from Entice. And she started realizing a lot of how much beauty was in hair. And yes, it takes some work. Yes, it takes some time, but she loves her natural hair. And, I'm a white woman raising practically black kids. And we have very different hairs. And it doesn't matter if you have black hair, Chinese hair, love your hair. I hate to take the slogan of love the skin you're in, but you want to embrace whatever God has given you. And you can do that by simply making sure that the blood supply going to your hair brings your hair to its most natural, purest state and form as possible. And that's why I love Debbie's products, because they help enhance that. So recently, Kiana, what Kiana does actually, she actually will, if you're in Toronto, she'll go to your house and naturally braid or do whatever style you want in your hair. So she does do that. If you're on Instagram or if you need her phone number, I can definitely get that to you. But she shared 3 tips, which I hope the video will play. And if you can't hear it, tell me, because sometimes we have trouble with sound and playing videos. But I'm going to share her. It's just a 2-minute video, but I thought it was just some really good ideas. So this is Kiana.
Hey guys, so a lot of you guys
Can you guys hear her?
about just natural hair tips. Today I'm just going to do a basic 3. The first one is conditioner over shampoo always.
Sorry, I just want to stop that and make sure. Can you guys hear her? Can someone say yes or no? Because I played it a little bit.
No, it's keeps cutting out.
But did you hear her when it was
No.
on? No.
No. No.
Shampoo does the opposite.
Not so well with the ones who are listening on the phone.
Basic.
So can't hear it at all?
Conditioner over shampoo always.
No. No, it's not true.
Opposite of that.
Okay, so I'll just let her talk while I explain what she's saying. She's saying there are 3 basic things that are important for your hair. She's saying don't over shampoo, because shampoo cleans, right? And it's just like don't over shower. Because, you know, if you shower morning and evening, you just strip your body of its natural oils. So condition more than you shampoo. And Debbie Dunn has amazing leave-in conditioners. But she was just explaining that oils and conditioners, you want to be using that a whole lot more than shampoos. The second thing that she was sharing is get your dead ends off. So before you undo your braids, she's saying to just cut the ends, because, and the last one is having a good routine. But you do want to get rid of that dead air. Of course, your whole hair is dead, but the very dead ends, those dry pieces, that can bring so much life back to your hair by getting rid of it. And so she was just sharing also is that make your hair a part of your routine. You know, we had, Thursday night was our hair night, but like, try to make it part of your regular routine. So it's not like a dreaded thing. For myself, my hair is washed only once a week. I know that if you have, I know some people, they only wash their hair once a month. I mean, Kiana washes her once a month. She's just doing a leave-in conditioner the other times. You should never be washing your hair every day. But you know what? I make that my Friday spa night, like just make it like a part of your routine, whether that's once a week or once a month. But try to make something around that so it's not a dreaded time. So all of that being said, before I get into this last, look at that waffles. What on earth am I going to talk about in a second? So before I get into our final remarks here as we're wrapping up, does anybody have any questions? I hope this was valuable and good information for you. Jacinta is asking Debbie, if you work with people in Florida doing hair assessments, could you through Zoom, or I could give you this webinar link, would you be able to do that?
Yes, we can do via Zoom, absolutely.
Okay, all right. So she's working with people all over the world, Jacinta. Jacinta is such a faithful customer all the way in Florida, I tell you. Good thing you don't live close by, Jacinta, because you'd be broke. You'd buy everything at the Energy Shack every day. So anyway, she's a faithful member here. Does anybody else have any questions? I know we addressed a lot of them last week. Yes, I know you would. Jacinta.
I want to ask Caroline, as well, is that you're talking about the hair, and I think that it's really important for people to understand that their hair type not necessarily how they style it, but their hair type, how sort of it goes over their hair. It's very different than sometimes how we actually end up styling or manipulating our hair. And so with that being said, as you were mentioning earlier, the products come in different formulations. So, somebody that has extremely kinky hair would not be using a product for someone that has very straight hair. So we have two separate formulations that are able to support straight and wavy hair, and then a very kinky coily hair as well. So we definitely have the two ones, because knowing one's hair and how to address it and support it is very important.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Did anybody else have any questions? And then I'll just share a couple final remarks. Okay, so I just want to let you know that every Thursday, we usually have some kind of a seminar. If you're part of our members program, so those are members that join the program by paying a minimum of $10 a month. So that's where our program starts, just $10 a month. If you are a member, you get to come to this class for free, but we do cooking demos. So next Thursday at 7:30, it won't be a seminar. We will be showing you how to make delicious, so simple plant-based waffles, which if you don't have a waffle maker, you can easily turn that into pancakes. So if you are interested, you can go to the website. It's at the bottom. It's EnergyShackJuiceBar.com, and then you can just search under cooking class, but you can copy that link there. So that will be next Thursday. If you're not a member, it's $10. So you would just pay your $10 ticket there. But guess what? Being a member is just $10 too. So you may want to join for just that month. But following the cooking demo, we always have a free question and answer time for the members. And for those who have purchased a cooking class ticket, you get to join our question and answer time as well. So that's where I don't do a seminar, and it's exclusive only to members and those who have bought a ticket. So that means that whatever your health issue is, whether it's toenail fungus or high blood pressure, whatever it is, I don't do a seminar. I just listen to your questions and answer them, and we do that for 30 minutes usually, or as long as it takes. So that's next Thursday at 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and 8 o'clock we start our free question and answer time for members or any ticket holders. And then I just want to remind you that if you do need to get in touch with us, because if you are struggling with any health issue, I am a certified holistic nutritionist, and I would love to help you on the road to healing. You just need to go to EnergyShackJuiceBar.com, click on consultation, and fill out that form, or just email me. Just get in touch with me, info@EnergyShackJuiceBar.com, or just call the store if you're not that great on the computer at all, and we can book your consultation. It's only $35 for a 30-minute consultation, and you don't have to be here. I do it by video call or by webinar or by phone call, and I do it all over the world. So I can talk to you from anywhere. And then this is the website, entice.ca, for you to get in touch with Debbie. If you need to book that hair assessment or consultation, all of her information's on her website. And if you do need Kiana to come to your house and actually style your hair, she does that. She's a mobile hairstylist. So you can, again, get in touch with me if you need her information, or follow her on Instagram. It's called Roots Revived. And she, even if you don't get in touch with her, just go on her Instagram page. If you go on Instagram, and by the way, can I just tell you, don't follow us on our Instagram page, because a hacker is currently running our page. So do not go on our Instagram page, but you can go on Kiana's and you can go on Debbie's. And if you just look through Roots Revived, Kiana has a lot of pictures of natural hairstyles. So it might inspire you with some new ideas for your own hair. And folks, that brings us to the end. It's 8:25. Wow, we really did it within an hour. Nobody has any questions? We've given you all the information you need.
Hi, this is Jacinta. I just want to say thank you, Carolyn. And just to encourage those who have not joined to please do that, because I went to the doctor, had some issue. I called Carolyn. and she answered me so quickly. So whatever issues that you might be going through, just join. $10. You can beat that. Thank you, Carolyn.
You're welcome. Yes. When you become a member, you get really special treatment. So it's $10 a month. It's very reasonable. So thank you, Jacinta. I didn't ask her to give that testimony, but praise God, thank you. Georgina, did you have any questions? You took your mute off?
No, I'll probably send you an email because I couldn't hear all the information.
Okay.
And I couldn't read everything because of my vision problems.
Okay. So yeah, I can send it to you, Georgina.
Send an email with some of my questions.
Sure, that sounds fine. And Georgina is another faithful member. The membership program is so fantastic. You get a video every week of either a cooking demo or a natural remedy. But if you're not into watching videos, it might not be as great. However, you get at least that free question and answer time and my attention whenever you need it. So folks, thank you so much for being on tonight. And I hope this information has helped you on the road to healing. Please reach out if you have any questions. God bless you and good night.
As usual. Thank you.